Alrighty lads, welcome back to another amazing YouTube video. I'm here today with Sir Leigh Winsor. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
And to give you guys a bit of background, so Leigh is one of my business mentors. Really assisted me to grow Brotherhood. He definitely is one of the influencers as to why this video is happening on YouTube. And yeah, really excited to chat to Leigh today because he's definitely a reflection of a man who is living life on mission, who has really committed to, doing the work, to internally introspect and to connect to, we had a great conversation yesterday, and the kind of general consensus of the conversation is my life or other things in my life conscious? Am I consciously choosing them? Or am I just, or is it being chosen for me? And I suppose, to touch a bit on that, how have you gone about, I know it's a loaded question, but how have you gone about, consciously choosing the unlimited lifestyle?
Mm. Yeah, so I think to just to pre-frame, I don't have the branding on now, but the unlimited kind of branding, the word unlimited came from a place from our own podcast, actually. Originally we had, before we started making long form YouTube content for business assets, we had a podcast which was just Eoin and I having conversations like this because we thought they were too good to waste. We were like, this stuff's just like too good not to capture. And we were racking our brains of like, what's the name? What are we going to call it? And a common theme within what we were always speaking about was limiting beliefs. And that was, and then we were like, so what we really want to help people do is like, what's the opposite? It's unlimit their beliefs. Yeah. And so the word unlimited doesn't mean you can have unlimited things. It's hyphenated because it unlimits your mind. So it kind of takes off the spells and the stories and the conditions that it was given by whoever kept you safe growing up. Yeah. So that was where that came from. And I think that leads beautifully into then choosing a life from that unlimited place. Because you can only choose efficiently from an unlimited mind. And so for me, I actually learned the concept from a guy called Flynn Skidmore. He's a psychologist that I really love his work. And he's a young guy, he's like around my age. He'd be in his 30s, was a therapist for a long time in New York and then studied internal family systems. So he blends internal family systems with a conscious choice model, like framework of thinking. How he spoke about that and the way that he brought it to fruition, because it's a lot of people aren't actually taught that it's okay to consciously choose what happens in your life. Like he says, the biggest thing that he found with his psychology patients was that they struggled with the permission that it was okay to choose, to have a preference in how you would like to feel more often than not, what you would like to experience more often than not, what you would like to do more often than not. Like they found it so strange that I can choose that. Like, I can have a say in that. And I think we do, but not unless it comes from an unlimited mind. Because if the mind is covered in stories and conditions and traumas and wounds and shoulds and all these things, stories that have been given to us by our caregivers, then it's not really our story. It's not really our choice. And to your point, it is, and that's where I came to, is like, okay, am I choosing all of my things in life, all of my decisions, all of my outcomes, all of the experiences that I have, or were they chosen for me? And that's what I mean by were they chosen for me? Is there an unconscious story playing out which drives all of my choices? And what I learned about myself is that it was. I'd say like 60-70% of my choices and decisions were driven by an unconscious story that I was just living out because I thought it was either what I should do, or people would be proud of me if I did, or it was noble, it was culturally noble. Like let's say the work hard story, for example. It's just culturally noble to do that. So yeah, it took many years to begin to face all of the stories. I'm still doing it today.
Of course.
But it's a lot faster today. If a story comes up, I have a filter of like where my choices and decisions go, and I can track it really quickly. But that wasn't always the case. When I first started doing it, it was quite confronting, and it took a lot of humility and a lot of courage to actually dig into all of my life choices and assess, oh, is this what I would prefer to feel? So dealing with the weirdness of actually being able to choose, like getting over that, it's like, whoa, I actually have a choice here. And then assessing my life stories and choices was quite a huge thing.
Man, I love that, because, you know, even what's coming through is, like, say for me yesterday, right? So we've been here at this business mastermind as part of the mentorship with Eoin and Leigh. And, you know, I was coming into yesterday and I had my own insights around, okay, what is the kind of next steps for the business? And I feel this is so crucial. Exactly what you're saying for a lot of men is the insight that came through for me is, you know, what does rich mean to me? You know, what is that end goal, that lifestyle? What is the sort of vision? And I say a lot that, you know, generally if a man's not taking action or feels like stunted in growth, it always comes down, in my perspective, to a lack of clarity. And then, you know, even for me, it was like, okay, the destination, there was that analogy of the car. It's like, if you get in the car and you don't have the destination on the map, you're just going to be taken by the fucking signs, right? You'll end up in a place far beyond where you actually maybe wanted to go. So for me at the moment, it's getting super clear on what does that rich mean for me? And then therefore I get to consciously choose, rather than just be unconsciously directed by the patterns or the blueprints of the past. It's actually sitting with and going, you know, what is it that I actually do want? And getting super clear on that. And then as you guys really communicate, it's then ensuring that then the business serves the lifestyle that I really desire. Because if I'm not super clear on what I want, or even have awareness around who I am, then I'm just going to be taken by the whim, you know, and I'm going to end up in relationships, I'm going to end up in businesses, I'm going to end up in careers that aren't aligned with who I am. And then I wonder why I feel so fucking terrible or disconnected from myself. So on that note, right, and let's say, for example, we've got a man who's, you know, at the moment feeling quite anxious, quite disconnected, you know, maybe potentially not in a career that he desires, but feels called to live out something greater, feels called to, you know, really work on himself and build a business of his dreams. You know, from your perspective and your own experience, like, where would he start?
That's a great question. I just want to piggyback off something that you said about you realizing that it was so important to get clarity on what you actually wanted.
Yeah.
There's two things there. You know, like we always say, you never have a business problem, you just have a you problem.
Yeah.
All your problems in business are you, and it begins there.
Yeah.
Like it begins there, really knowing what you want. And in the conscious choice model, the words are really important. The language is really important. So they don't actually use the word want; they use the word prefer.
Yeah.
Because want is like final. It's black and white. And that can almost set you up for another pattern, which is like because want is like, I have to get it.
Yes.
Whereas like prefer, it's like, I would prefer this, but prefer is softer. It's like, but I'm okay if I don't.
Yeah, it's not an attachment.
I'm gonna pursue, and this is where my efforts are gonna go, and this is where I'm consciously gonna put my efforts, but I'm also gonna be okay if I don't. But want is like, I have to have it, and I'm not going to be okay if I don't get it, you know? So that, like you said, attachment. And that unraveled a whole series of thoughts yesterday around gratitude, right? And if the word prefer is, for me, is rooted in gratitude, you kind of have to have gratitude for where you're at right now, because it's like, to be okay with not getting the thing, you've got to be okay with what's going on now.
We are,
you know, it's that kind of, it's a paradox, right? We can go for different. And this is another word that I've changed in my own psyche, and the same in the conscious choice model is, I don't use the word want, and I can't remember where I was going with the thought process. We were going, where did we go? What were we talking about just before that?
So it was conscious choice, and then also like for a man in the beginning.
Prefer. Damn, I lost my train of thought. It was a good one. I was going to tie it in. It'll come back.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the words prefer.
Yeah, and in your program.
Gratitude, not getting. Oh. So yeah, I use the word prefer. So going towards what I would prefer to have in life, or to experience and to feel. It all bakes down to feeling. For me, what I bake down my preference list is to a preference of feelings, not a preference of like experiences, what I want, because the feelings set myself up for the experiences, which set me up for the things that I get in life, and kind of reverse engineer it from that. So that's the first word that I change, is want, to prefer. But then that sets up that whole thing of like what we were saying about gratitude. So a lot of people make decisions from a place of getting themselves out of a situation that they don't like, which is okay, which is fine, because that might be where your decisions come from right now. It's like, I really just don't like this right now. This is not good for me. So your decisions are going to come to get you to a place where you do enjoy life. But I changed the word. Some people can think, well, when I get there, that's better than what I have now. But better is conditional and judgmental. Okay, so again, it's in the word. So I changed the word better to different. You'll hear me say it a lot when I was in the group yesterday, and when I'm on coaching, and whatever I try and do in life, I'm choosing different, and whatever is in the different, that's what I explore. Because if I tell myself that what I'm going to have there is better than this, I immediately lose gratitude for the present moment, right? I'm saying that this isn't good enough, and I'm judging this moment, and I lose presence and I lose gratitude, and I'm saying I can only be happy when I get there, because that's better. When what I really had to teach myself was, there is just different. This is phenomenal. How it is, like it is, isn't it? I mean, come on,
incredible.
Like life is just, I mean, where we're at, the scenery's amazing. Like we're in a beautiful place right now. We're in Roscommon, Ireland, like one of the most amazing houses I've ever seen. Like we went for a run this morning. It was just a beautiful, beautiful morning. So life is incredible, right? Last time I checked, we're white dudes hanging out in the Western world. Like we're not in famine, we're not at war. You know, we live in wealthy countries. We've got choices, we've got options. Like life is fantastic, right? And it gets to be different if we so choose. And that's where I explore. And that comes with a hell of a lot of gratitude. And for me, that fires me up. I'm like, holy crap, like I get to choose different. Like that is my great privilege, to be born into this density at this time, at this moment. You know, it's like, wow, my great privilege is to choose different. Let me explore different without judgment, without thinking this is bad, this is terrible, you know, because again, that's all a story that I tell myself. So where do people begin? I mean, I don't really know. I guess where anyone begins is always going to be different, because your awakening moment is going to be different for everybody. But I think traits that I would encourage everybody to have is a hell of a lot of curiosity and a hell of a lot of humility. And I guess those two paired together keeps you very teachable and very coachable, because it's losing the assumption that you know the answers to your problems. You know, I love the thing that Ty Lopez says, never be too convicted on your own ideas. He's like, never get too convicted that you start to believe your own bullshit. It's one of the dangerous places you can be. He's like, just have a thesis on everything. That's where I'm at in life. Everything that I think about is like, this is just my thesis for now. And it seems it's working for now.
It also gets to be different.
Because if I'm too convicted, nothing gets to be different. You know, and if I'm convicted and things are going to be better, because I don't know if they're going to be better either. You know, I can aim for different, but I don't know if it's going to be better. So I guess where people start is like really lean into curiosity and humility. I think that's where I would begin for a lot of guys.
I love it, man.
Well, because it's beaten out of us, I think. Or two things. It's either if we had it, it's beaten out of us, or if you didn't have it, it's just not trained into you. I don't think the modern system encourages curiosity. It encourages conformity, but not so much curiosity. And I think through the experiences that I've had in coaching circles and you know, doing things like this, masterminds, there is a commonality between people like you and I and people who don't do what we do. And one of those differentiating factors is the level of curiosity.
Man, I love it. Love it. Yeah. Because then it's so true. And like, even what's popping into mind now is like, okay, like even to take that step forward is, you know, the importance of, because even for men, right, like importance of mentors or role models or being surrounded by, and the essence of team or tribe. And I think we were talking about, was it yesterday, where, you know, I was recently in Italy and there was an extravagant experience, and it's like going to places where, you know, extraordinary things are normal, and how crucial that is, because we do adapt to our environment, you know, and we are the product of the 5 people we surround ourselves with, you know. So like, I think I feel the main question is, you know, how important is that mentorship and the importance of surrounding yourself with, like-minded individuals. And I think that, you know, what is that ideal lifestyle, and how can they surround themselves with people who are living it?
Brilliant. That's a great question. Because I think it's been the pivotal moment in, the most pivotal moments in my life have been through environment. So I've studied a lot of Buddhist philosophy, and Buddhist philosophy is about changing your mind. But I think something that's missing is changing your environment. You can fast track it by changing your environment. Never stop trying to change your mind and work on your mind and develop your mind and unlimit your mind. But at the same time, you can fast track it by changing your environment. And that happened to me many times. I think the first time it happened was when I moved to Australia when I was 20 years old in 2011. That was like the first time I got to, release myself from the environment. And there's that line in psychology, like, it's hard to heal in the environment that hurt you. Because if you're constantly being, the wounds being prodded constantly, you know, if it's keep being opened, it's hard to actually give it time to heal. Sometimes you need to change the environment to let the wound heal enough, and then go back and then revisit in a different place. But I think this has a lot of significance from our connection. Is I remember we met at a Kerwin Ray event in Sydney, Australia. It's crazy. We're on the other side of the world.
Ireland.
Yeah. And that's a whole beautiful synchronicity in itself. But I remember specifically, I was 30 years old when, at one of the most profound Kerwin Ray experiences that I ever had. And it brought me to tears. I remember Eoin was going through his own thing, and I was going through my own thing. And my own thing was environment. I was like, I can't believe it took me 30 years to find this. That was what was going through my mind. I was like, I can't believe it's taken me 30 years to feel like this, to find this, to find a place finally where my ideas are normal. And I just can't stress it enough. Like, and I was drilling that home to you guys yesterday. Go where your ideas are normal. And because when you go to those places, you realize that they're so normal because people are doing like crazy things, right? And let's just use money for an example, right? I was in Bali a couple of months back. I went to a mastermind with a guy who's making $700,000 a month with the 60% plus profit margin, right? I mean, some people don't even make 700 grand in like 10 years, maybe. They won't be in their life, you know? So it's like, this dude's crushing it in a month. And for me, you know, my goal is to make 100 grand a month, you know? But if I just go out on the street and hang out with like regular people, normal people, for lack of a better term, that's not going to be that normal to them. They're going to think I'm absolutely insane, and they're going to say stuff like, keep dreaming, or whatever, you know, or good luck, or believe it when I see it, or those kinds of things, you know. But when I sit in those rooms, it's like, yep, great, because they've done 10x that, and they're like, right, so how do we reverse engineer, and what's the bottleneck, and how do we get there? So I'm such a big proponent of getting in rooms where those ideas are completely normal, and with just like-minded people, and people who are really curious and have tons of humility and have tons of courage. And I think one of the other qualities is a non-judgmental room. You can get in those rooms, but sometimes they're still a little bit judgmental. I think if you can find a room where there's just an absolute like level, and that's something that you brought up last night, was like that feeling of like, we're all equal here. Yes, someone has to lead the room.
Correct.
Like Owen and I have to lead the room. We have to set the container and
like
set the frame.
If you're on a ship, there needs to be someone driving it.
The captain leads the ship, right? That someone has to lead. But that doesn't mean it's hierarchical. That just means we set the frame. And if
Yeah.
I come to your world, you set the frame.
Yeah, of
and it's
course.
like, cool.
Completely agree. Yeah.
And so I think that's the power of environment. You can really fast track and hack your growth just by changing your environment.
Yeah.
It's super powerful.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think again, as you so rightly said, it's everything stems back to, and it's interesting because this is right reflective for me at the moment. It comes back to just getting super clear on what it is that you want, and then the key thing that you said yesterday as well, for now. So it's like, get super clear just right now, like what is it that you want? Then from there you can reverse engineer back, okay, what are the environments or communities, whether it be like-minded individuals also living that? Surround yourself there, taking the actions necessary, bang, and then review.
Yeah.
And like as simple as that.
I would say as review as often as 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do with you guys. We encourage our clients to review their lives every 6 weeks. Because if you do 12 weeks, that's only like 3 or 4 times a year that you're going to review your life. You could be a radically different person in 3 months. Like I've had monumental changes in 3 months before, and I'm just a completely different person. I'm at a completely different stage in life. I mean, we've both gone through life changes in the last, months for you and 6 months for me, and we're different people, and we require different things, and we would prefer different things right now.
Yeah.
And that's good, but we need to define what that is. Like I was sharing with you guys yesterday, you can't plan without a goal. You can't plan without a goal. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but your plans aren't going to be accurate. And you're going to wonder why nothing's working, and going from there. So, and something I'll add is something that really came through for me in learning conscious choice was what I learned about myself was I never really had a decision filter in life. I didn't really have a way to make decisions, and this has been absolutely like so profound in the way that I live my life, is actually having a framework on how I make decisions. Because I was never taught how to make decisions, and that was how I knew my life was being chosen for me, because I didn't know how to choose. I didn't know, well, number one, I didn't know it was okay, but number two, I was just relying on the stories and the things that other people gave me on how to survive in this world, and wondering why didn't I feel quite like me, or how I wanted to, or whatever that may have been. So something to add is critical thought. I had to learn how to critically think, and that was developing a framework on how to make a decision. And the only way I strengthened how I make my decisions is through a conscious choice model. And the only way I know how to do that is if I clearly define how I would prefer to feel more often than not. And again, the language is important, more often than not.
Yes.
Because if I say I want to feel this all the time,
It's unreasonable.
well, it's unrealistic. It's fragile at best. And that means I'm back to a victim of circumstance again, because I'm saying I'm only okay if everything around me is exactly how I want it 100% of the time, which is fragile.
Correct.
So I work off like an 80-20, 70-30 rule. It's if I can arrange my life to about 80% of what I prefer to have more often than not, I'm living an unlimited life. Like that's great.
Yes.
And right now, like yesterday, it was my birthday, and people saying, "Oh, you're working on your birthday." To me, it doesn't feel like work. Like we held a mastermind, Owen and I, on our birthday, and what a great way to spend our birthday. And it was so good to be spending time with people like you on a day like that, like creating great memories. But because I've put so much time into consciously choosing what my life looks like, every day feels like my birthday. I woke up today and felt exactly the same. Right, we're up. Darren, we're going for a run. Yeah, cool. That's how I started yesterday. It's like, have a nice coffee, have some great conversations, jump on a coaching call, film a little podcast. Like, this is how I want to be living for now.
This epic
for now,
lifestyle,
in the most beautiful place ever. Like, this is, I don't know how it gets much better for me from here. Like, I don't need a lot in life. But I would prefer to have choices and options. So for me, that string of that pipeline of thought there is really important, like developing your critical thought. But you can only do that if you have because whatever you find in that critical thought, and my critical thought process is like, is this working? Yes or no? Most people aren't taught that it's okay to look at their life and go, is this working? Yes or no? And for two reasons, they're either not taught or it's bloody scary. And that maybe goes back to the question you asked me before, where would people start? I think it's just getting really curious and asking yourself, is what I'm doing working? And define working. Well, is it bringing me joy, happiness, warmth, love, non-judgment. This is just my framework in life. And if it's not, I have a really deep question about, is this something I want to continue doing or be around or welcome into my life, and that's part of like the conscious model. It's all connected, right? It's a bit of a bigger picture, but for me, my conscious framework, my list of things that I prefer to have are those things: love, warmth, connectedness, joy, fun, laughter, all the things that, I think people like to feel more often. And people often debate it like, Leigh, how do you know you're right? It's like, I don't know I'm right. But we had this conversation the other day. The only thing that I think I can ever know is how I feel. I don't know. That's why I have a thesis on everything. I don't know for sure, anything. I can't. We can't possibly know. The only thing I can know, and the only thing you can know, and the only thing the people watching can know is how they feel. And even then, I don't even know if we know. Yeah. But it's like, I think that's the closest to knowing that I'm ever going to get to, is how I feel. So based off that, if I ask somebody, this is the great litmus test. If I said to someone, so would you prefer to feel love or hate? They'd say love. Okay, write that one down. Would you prefer to feel coldness in your day-to-day interactions or warmth? Warmth. Okay, write that one down. Would you like to feel joy or pain? Joy. Okay, write that one down. Would you prefer to feel laughter or, cynicism for the world? Yeah, I like laughing. Okay, write that one down. It becomes quite clear after a while what humans prefer. Yeah. They prefer the love, the warmth, the joy. So that's how I built that list. And that would look different for everybody. Some people will choose coldness, and that's okay, but it's important that you define what your preferences are.
Yes.
Only then can I then put that through the critical thought frame of like, is this kind of adding up to that? And then only then can I consciously choose, okay, well, if that's not adding up to that, is it something I'm okay with? Can I put up with it? Or if it's really not adding to that, and it's starting to take my love and joy and warmth and non-judgment into judgment, coldness, and hate, then I have to delete it from my experiences for now. I have to. Until it comes to a time where it might change again, but it probably won't because that's kind of how I'm wired and how most people are wired. So that's the framework. And it's been so I can't even tell you how powerful it's been for me. And yeah, that's how I live and why I live the way I do now. And like, I have a real joy for life, and I don't really complain a lot about life anymore. I used to. I used to be a victim of circumstance. I don't really anymore because then even because the old stories are still there, right?
Of course.
I can't control my first thought, but I can control my second thought. Yeah. And controlling the second thought has a whole framework tied to it, which is what I just explained. So if a thought comes in like that, and it's cold, judgmental, hateful, whatever, I'm only human, then I can quickly guide it in a different direction. So yeah.
I feel, if you don't mind, I feel like that's so crucial too, because there's never going to be a moment where like that voice is gone. Stephen Pressfield talks about that, where the voice of resistance and your daemon, right? So your daemon being your soul's potential, and resistance being the voice that says, who's going to hear what I have to say? Who's going to read what I have to write? Leave it for tomorrow. It's like, the greater the soul's calling, the greater the resistance there will be. It's like, no matter how much you navigate along on the levels of your life, like there's never going to be a point where that voice is not there. It's just now having the tools to navigate even in spite of that being there. It's like, which voice am I choosing to, fuel? And
that choice comes with a framework. Yeah. So and when people hear it first off, we can start at one. I recommend people start at one level at a time. Yeah. Just yesterday we spoke at like a life level, a life and business level, right? But I even use it in that realm. So if a voice comes up, it's in there somewhere. I even use conscious choice on how I treat the voice. Yeah. Do I want to treat this voice with hate, rejection, judgment, or love, compassion, and warmth? Yeah. Like it even goes there. Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah. Even the way, I don't know, like the way I tie my shoes, the way I deal with a thing, the way I make a coffee, the way we speak, the way I treat a voice in my head, the way I treat other people, the way I treat my parents, like the way I treat the death of my father, like all of it. All has a conscious choice tied to it, and I just can't explain how much it transformed my life. And the only the thing I struggle with now, or not struggle with, but the challenge that I have, where I feel it's most useful for me right now, is when I see it in others, when I see others not choosing their reality and they're complaining about their life. I think I feel so strongly about it because I know how powerful this work is, but that's a part of me where I really have to use conscious choice. How am I going to treat this moment and treat this person? And I quickly come back to love and compassion.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday, right? With like putting yourself out there online, and even this conversation might get some hate. We might be called absolute lunatics or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I can't spend even a moment in hate or judgment or anything like that for that person. I have to come back to love and compassion because that's my energetic contribution to the world. That's another conscious choice thing, is choosing what your energetic contribution to the world is going to be.
Yeah.
Like people could say, oh, this person said this, so that gives me the right to say it back. It's like, yeah, but you're not choosing your energetic contribution to the world. Like if you might be choosing hate and coldness and judgment. But again, I would always ask the question, is that what you would prefer to contribute to the world? Would you prefer to contribute coldness, hate, and judgment right now? No, probably not. Okay, we'll choose the other then. Like it's really that simple. And it really gives me a great gauge in life. So yeah, that's where it's at, really.
Man, I love it.
It sounds like it's big, but
It's simple.
It's very simple, and it takes a bit of work at the start, and it's a little bit uncomfortable at the start because it's unfamiliar territory. It's like, it's like you have to give yourself a hell of a lot of permission to feel, to choose, to actually critically think, to give yourself a list of preferences on how you would enjoy to be in the world most of the time. Like that can feel uncomfortable, but once you're there, life gets beautiful. And I just can't recommend it enough.
Man, you know, and that's really it. Like to break it down simply, because it's the same too within Brotherhood with the lads. At times it can feel overwhelming, where it's like, you know, how do I attract women, or you know, how do I actually build my business, or how do I begin to, you know, build self-love? And it really is just, again, it's falling back to, okay, what do I want for now? And then, you know, reverse engineering back, what do I need to do in order to forge the character who's capable of building that, you know, life? And then really it's just coming back to trusting myself one step at a time. Like really, if we all drop down into it, we know what the next step is, you know, and it's like as simple as that. It's like along the way, by trusting yourself and that inner voice, just get super clear on what it is that I want for now. What do I need to do? And I just do that. And like, that's it. It's as simple as that. And then over time, it will open up.
Yeah. And something I'll add to that, which has been a new thing for me. I've only learned this in the last 4 months. What month are we in now? September. So I went to spend some time with a Buddhist monk in May, I think it was, or June probably. So 4 months ago. This is a very new thing for me. This idea of joyful action. And the monk was explaining about how he knows that people haven't unlimited parts of their mind because what they're doing in life isn't done with joyful action. They're not moving through life. The action they're taking isn't joyful. And to your point there, and to what this has enabled me to do, is to move forward in life with joyful action. Like all the things that I do, there's joy in it. It's not like, oh God, I have to do this. Oh God, I have to do that, you know. It's showing me that I'm not choosing it. It's being chosen for me. Because if I'm choosing it and I'm doing 80-20, like I'm getting my preferences 80% of the time, that 20% is just no worries. Like it's not even worth complaining about because I know that 80% of the time it's working for me, you know. So it's really enabling to me to move through life with joyful action. Yeah.
I love it, bro.
And to the just touching on that briefly with like relationships and attracting partners, and I think this is even more powerful in those scenarios because you have a framework and you know how to choose.
Yeah, because it's like, what is it? And this is the thing I chat to a lot of lads about. And I know I've got caught into myself, you know, especially if there's a beautiful woman, they can get caught in the pattern as like, who do I have to be to attract that? But then it's like, when you understand who you want, it's like, is this person aligned with what I desire? Rather than who do I have to become in order to? you know?
And do they add up to the equation of what I would prefer to experience more of the time?
Yeah.
Do they amplify? Because it's all about like multiplying or, you know, decreasing, right?
Yeah.
Or dividing. Does it amplify or multiply that energy, that energetic contribution, or does it not? And if it doesn't, then you got to question it. Like you got to be like, all right, well, is there potential here? Are they open to learning this stuff? And then if it's a no, then well, maybe you probably shouldn't be there. And that's also okay. It's completely okay.
That's it.
You know. But that's where the challenge arises, is because there's desire and lust, and I want this thing, and then you really get to challenge the stories that you're telling yourself, and the conditions and the addictions, and it can reveal a whole load of stuff. That's the other thing that will caveat this whole thing with, it can be very revealing, especially the list of preferences thing, and where it shows up in life, it can reveal a lot of addictions and what you might be clinging to and attached to and all those things. So, yeah.
And I think, again, that comes back to, you know, to really, you know, round it up is, again, the importance of support. You know, this is one of the deepest insights I've got, even, you know, just from leaning on you lads. It's like you can, and I know it's like I can get stubborn, and men, we can too. It's like stubborn about, oh, I've got to figure it out on my own. But from this one insight, I've actually realized now, like, I'm going to consistently invest in support, not only in my business, but in my relationships, in my health, because A, I can't do it alone, and then B, why the fuck would you want to?
Yeah.
You know?
It's everywhere. And so for us, like, that's been a superpower for us, is like, you know, at any given time, I've got like 2 to 3 coaches at any given time.
Yeah.
For all for different things.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I mean, I think as humans, we're wired for community, we're wired for connection, and I think it all just works better that way. And that it's a concept that I've been speaking about a lot lately, and I heard Dr. Zach Bush speak about this. You know, the initial wound, you know, the core wound of a human is individualism and separateness. And I don't know if you've seen the definition of nature in the Oxford English Dictionary, but somewhere, somehow, someone said that the definition of nature is everything that isn't human.
Wow.
So that's where we messed up.
Jesus Christ.
We messed up when we thought we were separate.
Yeah.
And from that day, and the more we think we're separate, the more we suffer. And from that day, we've been suffering more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And thus why we have the world we have today. The proof is in the pudding. And it's the second law of thermodynamics. Anything in isolation increases its entropy. Entropy essentially means chaos.
Yeah.
So what are we doing right now? We're individualizing the hell out of this world. Everything is designed for the individual. We're saying things like express yourself, and have the phone, which is algorithmically designed for you, and you know, a For You page, and the iPhone, and all these things. It's all self-centered, self-centric, individualistic, which I believe is also okay, but not forgetting that it's going to be synergistic with the whole. And if we forget that, which I think we have forgotten that, we're going to create chaos, surprise, surprise, and entropy on this planet, and suffering. And that's what we have right now. So I think part of the journey, where we're going to go next, is remembering that we are part of the whole. It sounds very cliche, but I think it's never been more important for men, for women, for everything in between. I think that we need to remember that we're part of nature, and the more we can get back to the laws of nature, I think the less we'll suffer. And I think the only way that I'm doing that, trying to do that, is through this conscious choice model. And the conscious choice allows me to tap into my energetic contribution to the world, because it's like, and again, people will say, well, how do you know you're right? I try to back this stuff up with as much, as close to knowing as I possibly can. Is if we look at a flower or a plant, for example, right? If you give that, you starve it of nutrients, you give it terrible energy, you starve it of sunlight, all these things, what happens? It's terrible, right? Like it just dies. It wilters away and it dies. But then if you give it what it wants, you know, what does it need? It needs nutrition, it needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs love, you know, because the more loving energy you give it, the better it gets. So when you nurture it like that, what happens? It contributes to the world in the most beautiful way that it knows how to. And when you see that with a flower, when a really well looked after flower in a garden, those flowers are beautiful. They're big, they're bright, they bloom, right?
Like whatever you bring care to grows.
And so I think this is what conscious choice does for me. It allows me to give the care to me that I need to then give to the world, which is what I call my energetic contribution. So this is where the whole thing, and this can sound a little bit judgmental, but I think it is our absolute obligation to do this for ourselves, because it's that Jim Rohn quote, right? Of like, I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. But it's like, that can't happen if both parties aren't playing ball. And for me, I need to take care of me so that I can take care of the other, or the group, right? And it's a paradox. Who comes first? Well, it's a paradox. It's both important.
Yeah.
So if I want the best energetic contribution to the group, I need to be nurturing myself like the plant so that I can bloom the best that I can. Because what's the opposite? Well, the opposite is implosion. And we know that that doesn't work very well. This whole planet works better with a positive energetic contribution. This whole thing is energy. You give everything the energy that it needs, it blooms, it thrives, it's beautiful, right? But we're not doing that right now. And the proof is in the pudding. And I don't really care what anybody says.
Well, it's like
it's back to critical thought. Well, I've got one question for everybody. Is it working?
Yeah.
And for me, the answer is no.
Well, and it's like that saying, if you want to change the world, start by making your own bed. You know, it's like, it starts with yourself. And it just reminds me of my mentor has a great quote where he's like, fill your own heart with so much love that it overflows into the lives of others.
Amen.
Bang. I
Amen to that one.
Drop that mic there. But, you know, and then just to finalize is, I think one of the greatest lessons I ever learned is, as you so rightly said, like with nature, we're not separate from reality, but actually an incredibly crucial fabric of reality. And like, there's nothing wrong with you, and all the things that light you up, all the things that you're passionate about are exactly who you're supposed to be. And to not bring those gifts to the world is to go against the very fabric of nature itself. You know, so you're exactly who you're supposed to be. So Leigh, thank you for jumping on, bro.
It's been a pleasure. I've loved it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I feel like time flew.
Yeah. We're in flow.
We're in a mad flow.
This is great.
So lads, feel free. I'm going to pop Leigh's details below, Leigh and Eoin's details below. Go give them a follow. Make sure to give this a like, subscribe, share it to any lads or friends that you feel would gain value from it. And we will see you on the next one. Let's go.